Imagine this. In the year 2025, a team of archaeologists stands frozen on the windswept Central Asian steppes, their torches casting eerie shadows over a wooden relic unearthed from a buried vault. Its panels, carved with impossible precision, depict the solar system, every planet in perfect orbit, including a faint orb at the edge, Pluto, a celestial body modern science claimed only in 1930. But this is no modern creation. It is a Tatar artifact, centuries old, its wood interlocked without glue or nails, humming with a strange resonance that pulses through the night, as if whispering secrets of a lost empire. As the team brushes away the dirt, the carving begins to glow faintly during a sudden geomagnetic storm, its vibrations triggering visions of colossal horsemen and cities swallowed by waves of mud. Is this the key to a Tartarian civilization, one that mastered sound to heal, move mountains, or even bend time itself? Or is it evidence of a conspiracy so vast that it erased an entire people's legacy, leaving only myths to haunt us? What force buried this knowledge, and what happens if it awakens now, in 2025, under the watchful eyes of those who would keep it hidden forever? These questions burn like stars in the night sky, unanswered yet impossible to ignore, pulling us into a mystery that defies the history books we were taught to trust. The Tatar people, often dismissed as mere nomadic raiders, emerge in whispered theories as the architects of an advanced society, one that wove music into medicine, crafted woodwork that defied physics, and mapped the cosmos with a precision that challenges our understanding of time. This relic, uncovered in 2025, is no isolated find. Similar discoveries ripple across the globe. Resonance chambers beneath Buffalo, New York, humming during solar flares, their walls etched with Siberian petroglyphs, submerged portals in Turkey's Black Sea, inducing visions of Tatar warriors among divers, and ancient texts decoded by artificial intelligence, describing event folding, a process to compress matter or time, allowing nomadic hordes to traverse continents as if by magic. A July 2025 X-post from at Tartaria Truth links these to Sumerian tablets, also depicting 9 planets, suggesting the Tatar inherited knowledge from the lost continent of Mu, drowned in the Ice Age's cataclysmic floods. Could these artifacts be fragments of a Tartarian empire, suppressed by a deliberate act of erasure? And if so, who orchestrated this cover-up? And why do their descendants like the Uyghurs and Crimean Tatars face oppression today, their plight veiled by the very myths we chase? Let us weave a vignette to deepen this enigma. Picture a Tatar shaman in 1400, hidden in a steppe workshop under a canopy of stars. His hands, guided by ancestral whispers, carve a wooden solar model, each groove pulsing with vibrations that lift nearby stones, defying gravity. As he works, shadowy figures, perhaps early Freemasons or agents of a rival empire, watch from the darkness, plotting a deluge of mud to bury his secrets. Suddenly, the earth trembles, and a viscous tide engulfs his village, swallowing spires and silencing songs. This scene, though imagined, captures the heart of the Tartaria narrative, a civilization of wonder, erased to maintain a world order that thrives on control. In 2025, such tales gain traction. The podcast Deep Research, Tartaria from July, explores how mudfloods potentially engineered by sonic or electromagnetic weapons buried cities, their technologies repurposed by conquerors. Photographs from Buffalo, shared in underground forums, reveal buried chambers that hum during geomagnetic disturbances, as if reactivating ancient grids. Artificial intelligence analyses of Siberian vault texts, reported in 2025, describe quantum devices that compress distances, explaining the Tatars' legendary mobility. Are these anomalies echoes of a lost science, or deliberate signals from a hidden lineage, stirring now as the Earth's magnetic fields shift? The conspiracy deepens with whispers of shadowy cabals. Your comments on our channel point to the Freemasons, Jesuits, and Illuminati, accused of rewriting history to obscure the Tatars' achievements. Dean Henderson's book, Royal Bloodline Wetiko and the Great Remembering, still debated in 2025, traces an Anunnaki bloodline from Sumeria through Rome to modern elites who suppress technologies like the Tatars' resonance devices to maintain power. This aligns with your thoughts. Education, from kindergarten onward, indoctrinates us with narratives that glorify Western progress, while dismissing non-European empires. The Tatars' woodworking, like the relic with Pluto, defies modern engineering panels self-assembling through sonic vibrations, as described in Ottoman records of a Turkish mosque. A March 2025 video links similar carvings to Sumerian astronomy, hinting at a global network of knowledge inherited from Mu or Atlantis, lost to floods. Why hide such marvels? Perhaps to prevent a resurgence of nomadic independence, a threat to empires built on control and dependency. The Tatars' diversity adds another layer to this puzzle. You've noted their multiculturalism: white Kipchaks, red-haired giants of legend, yellow Mongols, and mythic black Tatars sold as slaves to North Africa, their bloodlines weaving into Caribbean tales of Karabi. Some theorists, echoed in August 2025 X posts from at Tatar Legacy, link them to the lost tribes of Israel, their griffin heraldry mirroring Judah's symbols. Genetic studies in 2025 uncover Middle Eastern markers in Tatar populations, suggesting ancient crossings via Beringia or maritime routes. This diversity, unified under the Golden Horde, challenges the narrative of barbaric raiders, painting them as a harmonious blend whose achievements were fragmented by conquerors. As we explored in our episode on Fomenko's new chronology, history may be compressed, with Tartaria as a Slavic Tatar core erased to diminish Russia's ancestral claim. Yet, the real tragedy unfolds today, where Tatar kin, like Uyghurs and Kazakhs, face cultural erasure, their plight overshadowed by the very Tartaria myths we unravel, a thread we will pursue in this journey. This exploration builds on our past episodes: the mudfloods that engulfed Tartarian cities, Fomenko's compressed timelines, shrinking history to 1200 years, and the ancient technologies of Gunung Padang, hinting at a prehistoric network of knowledge. The Tatar emerge as the missing link, their legacy pulsing beneath the earth, in relics that hum and visions that haunt. What technologies did they wield, and who benefits from their silence? Do these discoveries in 2025 signal a reawakening, or a warning of cycles repeating? As you drift towards sleep, let these questions swirl gently in your mind, like stars in a forgotten sky. I am Mr. H, your guide through these mysteries on Mystery History for Sleep. If these tales of buried empires and hidden truths spark your curiosity, I invite you to join our community by subscribing and turning on notifications. Your presence helps us uncover more secrets. Tell us which piece of this Tatar enigma captivates you most. Stay tuned, for we have only begun to peel back the layers of this profound mystery. In the heart of a 13th century steppe, a Tatar shaman stands before a gathering of warriors, his fingers coaxing ethereal notes from a horsehair stringed instrument. The air vibrates, not just with sound, but with an unseen force that soothes wounds, calms restless spirits, and some say, shifts the very stones beneath their feet. These are not mere melodies, they are a science of resonance, a technology woven into the fabric of Tatar culture, capable of healing the body and bending the laws of nature. Fast forward to 2025, where biofeedback laboratories in remote corners of Eurasia replicate these ancient frequencies, reporting inexplicable recoveries, patients emerging from stress-induced ailments, their pulses syncing with tones that echo the Tatars' lost art. Meanwhile, in a Turkish mosque, a wooden relic stands as a testament to their craftsmanship, panels carved with the solar system, including Pluto, interlocked without glue or nails, humming faintly as if alive with secrets. How did a nomadic people master such technologies? And why were they buried beneath layers of earth and time? Could these artifacts, uncovered in 2025, reveal a Tartarian legacy that threatens the foundations of our modern world? The Tatars' mastery of sound begins with their shamanic traditions, documented by medieval travelers like Marco Polo, who described musicians whose melodies could quell storms or mend broken bones. These were not superstitions but deliberate applications of vibration, tuned to frequencies that resonated with the human body and the earth itself. In 2025, researchers at fringe institutes, inspired by these accounts, have conducted experiments with biofeedback devices, replicating tones at specific hertz, often around 440, eerily matching modern musical scales. A July 2025 report from a Siberian lab describe subjects experiencing reduced inflammation and heightened clarity after exposure to these frequencies, as if the Tatar had unlocked a science of harmonic healing. Some theorists, posting on X under handles like @AncientTech, speculate these vibrations tapped into the Earth's geomagnetic fields, creating resonance chambers that amplified human vitality or even manipulated matter. Such chambers, discovered beneath Buffalo, New York, in 2025, hum faintly during solar flares, their walls etched with petroglyphs resembling Siberian Tatar symbols. These structures, buried under layers of mud, suggest a network of acoustic technology, perhaps used to stabilize nomadic camps or communicate across vast distances. But the intrigue deepens with the Tatars' woodworking, a craft that defies modern engineering. Legends, echoed in your comments on our channel, describe wooden panels in a Turkish mosque, likely the Süleymaniye in Istanbul, crafted without adhesives or fasteners, their surfaces depicting a solar system with 9 planets, including Pluto, a body unknown to Europe until 1930. These panels, said to self-assemble through precise cuts and vibrations, pulse with a faint resonance when touched, as if encoded with energy. A March 2025 video on YouTube analyzing similar Sumerian carvings suggests the Tatar inherited astronomical knowledge from the lost continent of Mu, a Pacific realm submerged during the Ice Age's end. This connection is not mere fantasy. X-posts from @Tartaria Truth in August 2025 link these relics to Sumerian tablets depicting 9 planets, hinting at a shared legacy. The woodworking's precision interlocking pieces that fit like a cosmic puzzle implies a mastery of geometry and acoustics, where sound waves guided tools to carve with sub-millimeter accuracy. Could these panels have served as more than art, perhaps as portable devices to harness atmospheric energy or encode celestial data for navigation? Delving further, the resonance chambers beneath Buffalo, uncovered in 2025, offer tantalizing clues. Shared in underground forums, photographs show subterranean vaults with walls etched in patterns that mirror Tatar petroglyphs found in Siberia's Altai region. These chambers, buried under uniform sediment suggestive of a mud flood, emit low-frequency hums during geomagnetic disturbances, disrupting nearby electronics. A July 2025 report from independent researchers posits they were acoustic amplifiers, used by Tatar nomads to enhance endurance or project signals across the steppes. Artificial intelligence analyses of texts from Siberian vaults, also unearthed in 2025, describe fold-points quantum mechanisms to compress matter or space, allowing hordes to traverse vast distances with minimal resources. These texts, blending Turkic runes with Slavic symbols, suggest the Tatar wielded a science akin to modern quantum levitation, where vibrational frequencies align particles to defy gravity. Experiments in 2025 laboratories, inspired by these decodings, have levitated small objects using sound waves, but uncontrolled tests caused tremors, echoing the cataclysms that may have buried these technologies. The connection to Mu adds a layer of cosmic intrigue. Your comments mention Mu as a mythological source for Tatar knowledge, a Pacific continent said to have flourished 12,000 years ago. Its crystal-powered society chronicled by 19th century explorer James Churchward. In 2025, fringe theorists on platforms like Reddit's Tartaria proposed that Tatar shamans were descendants of Mu's survivors, fleeing rising seas to Central Asia. Their astronomical carvings, like the Pluto-inclusive solar system, mirror Mu's reputed star maps, preserved in oral traditions. A January 2025 article in All That's Interesting explores this, noting similarities between Tatar petroglyphs and Polynesian navigational symbols, suggesting transoceanic migrations. Could the Tatar have inherited a technology to encode cosmic knowledge in wood, using vibrations to preserve it through cataclysms? The Buffalo chambers, with their humming walls, may have been waypoints in a global network, resonating with Mu's lost grids. Yet, the question lingers, why were these technologies erased? The Mudflood hypothesis, explored in our previous episodes, offers a chilling answer. Theorists, including those in a July 2025 podcast, Deep Research Tartaria, argue that a global deluge of liquefied earth in the early 19th century buried Tatar cities, their spires and devices repurposed by conquerors. The resonance chambers, found under cities like Buffalo and Kazan, suggest a deliberate act, perhaps sonic or electromagnetic weapons, as speculated in X-posts from at Ancient Tech in July 2025. These posts claim Ottoman records describe boiling waters in the Black Sea, where submerged portals induced visions among sailors, hinting at Tatar technologies too powerful for empires to tolerate. In 2025, divers exploring Karadeniz anomalies report fleeting images of colossal horsemen manipulating glowing orbs, as if the portals preserve psychic residues. Could these be safeguards, designed to deter intruders while encoding knowledge for future heirs? The Tatars' shamanic rituals add another dimension. In 2025, psychic experiments at Bosnia's Visoko pyramids, linked to Tatar migratory paths, yield visions of towering figures chanting around bonfires, their voices lifting megaliths or compressing energy for healing. Parapsychology reports describe these rituals as frequency weaving, where sound aligned with Earth's pulses to create protective fields. A 2025 X thread from At Mystic Echoes suggests these ceremonies encoded history in the landscape, accessible only under specific vibrations. The buffalo chambers, humming during flares, may be remnants of such fields, their petroglyphs, a script for nomadic survival. This aligns with artificial intelligence decodings from Siberian vaults, which describe portable resonance devices, wooden or stone tools that amplified human capabilities, allowing Tatar hordes to erect temporary fortresses overnight, only to vanish without trace. The global reach of these technologies hints at a broader conspiracy. Your comments note the Tatars' diversity: white Kipchaks, red-haired giants, yellow Mongols, and black Tatars sold as slaves to Africa, their bloodlines seeding Caribbean lore. This multiculturalism, unified under the Golden Horde, suggests a network spanning continents, from Mu's Pacific shores to the Americas. Genetic studies in 2025, reported in Nature, uncover Middle Eastern markers in Tatar populations, hinting at ancient crossings via Beringia or maritime routes. Could their technologies have facilitated such journeys, using resonance to compress sustenance or navigate by stars? The Suleymaniye Mosque's relic, with its solar map, may have been a navigational tool, its vibrations guiding hordes across uncharted lands. Yet, European conquerors, as you've pointed out, fragmented this legacy, crediting achievements to Arabs or Greeks to erase a unified heritage. The persistence of these anomalies in 2025, glowing chambers, psychic visions, decoded texts, raises unsettling questions. If the Tatar mastered sound to heal and wood to encode the cosmos, what other sciences did they wield? Were their technologies buried to prevent a nomadic resurgence, one that could challenge empires built on control? And as solar flares intensify, reactivating these grids, are we on the cusp of rediscovering their secrets or unleashing forces long contained? The answers lie buried, perhaps in the next vault, waiting for those bold enough to listen to the Earth's forgotten songs. Where are you tuning in from tonight, dear listeners? And what hour marks your time? Share your thoughts in the comments, and tell us which Tatar mystery sound, wood, or stars captivates you most. In the shadowed halls of a 19th century archive, a cloaked figure slips through the stacks, replacing ancient manuscripts with sanitized volumes that erase the Tatar legacy. Each page turned to ash, whispers of a grand empire, its cities powered by unseen energies, its people weaving cultures across continents now reduced to a myth called Tartaria. This is no mere tale of lost history. It is a deliberate act of concealment, orchestrated by elites who weaponize nostalgia to distract from the ongoing erasure of the Tatars' true heirs. In 2025, as digital forums buzz with Tartaria theories, the real tragedy unfolds in plain sight. The systematic oppression of Turkic peoples like the Uyghurs and Kazakhs, their cultures crushed while the world chases a phantom empire. Why craft such a deception, cloaking a vibrant heritage in the guise of a lost utopia? Could the Tartaria myth be a tool to divert our gaze from modern genocides perpetuated by the same forces that buried the Tatars' technologies centuries ago? And what secrets hidden in plain sight might unravel if we dare to look beyond the veil? The Tartaria conspiracy, surging in popularity through platforms like X and podcasts in 2025, paints a seductive picture, a global superpower with spires that harnessed atmospheric energy, erased by a cataclysmic mudflood and rewritten by shadowy cabals. Yet, your comments on our channel pierce this narrative, suggesting Tartaria is not just a lost empire but a manufactured distraction. This weaponized nostalgia, as you've termed it, shifts focus from the real suppression of Turkic peoples, descendants of the Tatar who face cultural annihilation today. A July 2025 X-post from at Uyghur Truth Proj details the grim reality in Xinjiang, China, where 1 to 3 million Uyghurs languish in detention camps, subjected to forced labor and cultural erasure. Amnesty International's August 2025 report laments no accountability 3 years after a United Nations finding of crimes against humanity. Human Rights Watch, in February 2025, notes travel bans and forced assimilation, with Uyghur identity reshaped through labor programs in cotton and solar panel production, as detailed by the Center for Strategic and International Studies in August 2025. This is no abstract history. It is a living wound, ignored while Tartaria myths flourish. The conspiracy's roots trace to a deeper agenda, one articulated in Dean Henderson's royal bloodline, Weaponized and the Great Remembering, still debated in 2025. Henderson argues an Anunnaki bloodline, originating in Sumeria 8,500 years ago, flows through Babylon, Rome, and modern elites in London City. This lineage, infected by Weaponized, a Native American spirit of greed, orchestrates resets like mudfloods to maintain control. The Illuminati, Jesuits, and Freemasons, you've noted, replaced history books post-1800s, compressing Tatar achievements into vague tales of nomadic raiders. A 2025 X thread from at Conspiracy Watch claims Ottoman sultans, possibly influenced by these cabals, engineered mudfloods in the Black Sea region to bury Tatar portals, circular depressions etched with runes, now inducing visions among divers, as reported in July 2025. These portals, described in declassified Ottoman records, emitted boiling lights, perhaps plasma discharges from malfunctioning technologies too potent for imperial control. Why hide such power? To ensure dependency on finite resources, keeping humanity tethered to systems that enrich the few. This concealment extends to education, a point you've raised with chilling clarity. From childhood, curricula instill narratives glorifying Western progress while dismissing non-European empires as primitive. The Tatar, whose golden horde bridged Asia and Europe with trade routes and postal systems, are reduced to barbaric stereotypes. A June 2025 article from the Library of Congress traces the term Tartary on Western maps, noting its dissolution into obscurity by the 19th century, not a natural evolution, but a deliberate erasure, you argue, to suppress a unified Turkic heritage. The Freemasons, with their geometric symbols mirroring Tatar runes, are accused of co-opting this legacy, their lodges hiding relics like humming stones, as uncovered in 2025 scans of Oddfellows' basements. These artifacts, emitting frequencies during solar flares, suggest a technology suppressed to prevent nomadic independence, a freedom that threatens empires built on control. Henderson's Weaponized ties this to a broader agenda, elites manipulating bloodlines to hoard knowledge, from Sumerian star maps to Tatar resonance devices, while the masses are fed sanitized histories. The Tartaria myth, as explored in a February 2025 podcast, Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire, serves as a perfect distraction. By romanticizing a lost utopia, it diverts attention from real-time oppressions. Kazakhs, another Tatar kin, face Russification in Kazakhstan, with a third of their population erased during Soviet purges, as noted in a July 2025 X post from at Gumi Bears. This echoes the Crimean Tatars' fate, deported en masse in 1944, with 46% perishing, a genocide recognized by the Netherlands in 2025. PER, the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization. Yet, online forums chase Tartarian spires, ignoring these living descendants. A 2025 book, Mudflood Hypothesis, available in audio format, claims buried cities with free energy grids. But your comments argue this pseudo-history obscures the systematic destruction of Turkic cultures. Why? To prevent recognition of a heritage that could inspire resistance against modern control systems, from dollar-driven economies to state-enforced assimilation. Let us pause in a shadowed steppe, where a Tatar elder in 1500 recounts tales of ancestors who sailed from Mu's sunken shores, their knowledge encoded in wood and song. As he speaks, a rival empire's agents, perhaps Jesuit scribes, burn his scrolls, replacing them with tales of nomadic savagery. This vignette, though imagined, reflects the conspiracy's core, a deliberate rewriting to fragment a people's identity. In 2025, this continues. Posts from at Tatar Legacy in August highlight how Tatar achievements, astronomical carvings, resonance technologies accredited to Europeans or Arabs, erasing their Turkic roots. The Süleymaniye Mosque's wooden relic, depicting Pluto, is dismissed as Ottoman art, yet its craftsmanship suggests a science beyond its era. Artificial intelligence decodings from Siberian vaults, reported in 2025, reveal texts describing fold points quantum mechanisms to compress space, allowing hordes to vanish across steppes. These were buried, you suggest, to prevent a resurgence of nomadic freedom, a lifestyle unbound by borders or resources. The global scope of this conspiracy emerges in unexpected places. Your comments point to vitrified glass in deserts, suggesting ancient nuclear events, and sulfur anomalies unexplained by natural processes, perhaps remnants of Tatar plasma weapons, fused during cataclysms. Old maps, showing a green Greenland and a forested Sahara with cities, imply pole shifts or engineered floods that reshaped the Earth. A March 2025 video on ancient Indian carvings, depicting a solar system with Pluto, links to Tatar woodworking, suggesting a shared astronomical heritage. These clues, scattered across continents, point to a Tartarian network, its technologies suppressed to maintain a Eurocentric narrative. The Illuminati, infiltrating Tatar societies during the Golden Horde's decline, allegedly co-opted these secrets, using them in modern black projects while erasing their origins. A 2025 post from at Ancient Tech claims suppressed patents from the 1900s mirror Tatar resonance devices, hinting at elite hoarding. The real cost of this deception is borne by the Tatars' descendants. In 2025, Uyghur women face bans on hijabs and beards, their mosques shuttered, as noted in a September post from at Regine, Olsane. Kazakhs endure linguistic erasure, their schools forced to adopt Russian curricula. These are not isolated acts but part of a pattern, you argue, where Tartaria's allure distracts from cultural genocides. The conspiracy's irony is cruel. While theorists seek a lost empire, the Tatars' true heirs fight for survival. Henderson's Great Remembering calls for awakening against this Wetiko-driven agenda, urging us to reclaim suppressed truths. Yet, the questions cascade. If Tartaria is a myth to veil oppression, what technologies lie hidden in elite vaults? Are the glowing artifacts and psychic visions of 2025 reported at Bosnian pyramids and Siberian sites signals of a reawakening, or traps to deepen our distraction? And as elites perpetuate cycles of control, what role do we play in breaking them? These enigmas, pulsing like the Tatars' ancient songs, demand our attention. The Tartaria myth, while seductive, risks overshadowing the real struggles of Turkic peoples, their heritage buried not just in mud, but in silence. Let us carry these questions into the night, seeking truths that lie beyond the veil. Beneath the bustling streets of 21st century Chicago, half-buried windows peer from sunken basements, as if the city itself sank into a sea of earth long ago. In San Francisco, construction crews unearth cobblestone streets far below modern grades, sealed under layers of uniform sediment. Across the Atlantic, in Russia's Kazan, restored Kremlins reveal foundations entombed in clay, their stones etched with patterns that hum faintly during solar flares. These are not mere quirks of urban development, they are scars of a global mudflood, a cataclysmic event theorists claim swept the world in the early 19th century, swallowing Tatar cities and their advanced technologies in a viscous tide. Was this a natural disaster, born of seismic upheavals or cosmic disturbances? Or was it a weaponized assault, engineered by shadowy forces to erase a Tartarian empire that threatened their dominion? In 2025, as glowing forts and submerged portals resurface, the Mudflood hypothesis pulses with new life, raising questions that defy easy answers. What triggered this deluge, and what secrets does it still conceal beneath our feet? The Mudflood theory, a cornerstone of Tartaria conspiracies, posits that a sudden, planet-wide surge of liquefied earth buried entire civilizations, leaving only their upper stories to be repurposed by victors. A July 2025 podcast, Deep Research Tartaria, explores this, citing evidence from cities like Chicago, where buildings from the 1850s appear to have been excavated, their basements dug out from sediment that defies gradual accumulation. Photographs from the era show sidewalks elevated above buried ground floors, windows peering out at street level like eyes half closed in slumber. In San Francisco, pre-1906 earthquake reports detail foundations sunk inexplicably deep, as if the city was interred before being reclaimed. Across Eurasia, from Kazan to Paris, similar anomalies emerge, catacombs and quarries hiding levels submerged in uniform clay, suggesting a singular, rapid event. An August 2025 article from All That's Interesting describes this as a deliberate reset, with mud engulfing Tatar metropolises, their free energy spires and resonance devices buried to prevent their rediscovery. But what could cause such a widespread calamity? Traditional science points to liquefaction during earthquakes or volcanic eruptions, where soil behaves like quicksand. Yet, the mudflood scale spanning continents with consistent sediment layers defies these explanations. Some theorists, posting on X under handles like @Tartaria Truth in July 2025, link it to the Carrington event of 1859, a massive solar flare that disrupted telegraphs worldwide. Could an electromagnetic pulse have destabilized the Earth's crust, turning solid ground into a flowing morass? Others draw parallels to ancient deluge myths, Noah's flood, the Epic of Gilgamesh, or Sundanese tales of a great inundation, suggesting a modern echo of a biblical reset. Not with water, but with mud. A 2025 X thread from @Ancient Tech proposes a more sinister cause, geological warfare, where rival factions, perhaps remnants of older empires, or an Anunnaki bloodline, deployed sonic or electromagnetic devices to liquefy the Earth. These weapons, hinted at in declassified Ottoman records, describe boiling waters in the Black Sea, where coastal settlements vanished under mud, their portals emitting plasma-like discharges that induced visions among sailors. These portals, uncovered in 2025 sonar mappings of the Black Sea's Karadeniz region, add a layer of profound mystery. Divers report circular depressions etched with Tatar runes, structures that distort compasses and trigger fleeting images of colossal horsemen manipulating glowing orbs. A July 2025 report from independent researchers suggests these are psychic safeguards, designed to protect Tatar technologies while encoding their history for future generations. The Mudflood, in this view, was no accident, but a targeted strike to bury these portals, whose quantum properties described in artificial intelligence decodings of Siberian vault texts allowed the Tatar to compress space for instantaneous travel. These texts, unearthed in 2025, detail fold points, mechanisms to manipulate matter or energy, enabling hordes to appear and vanish across steppes without supply lines. Could such power have threatened emerging industrial powers, prompting a coordinated effort to entomb it? The glowing forts, scattered across Scotland, India, and Siberia, offer further clues. In 2025, these structures' walls fused into glass by intense heat, emit soft luminosities during solar flares, disrupting nearby electronics with low-frequency hums. A September 2025 X post from @Mystic Echoes claims they were Tatar defenses, engineered to withstand cosmic or earthly threats using plasma technologies. These forts, often dismissed as natural lightning strikes, align with the Mudflood's timeline, their vitrified surfaces suggesting a cataclysmic event that melted stone. Theorists argue they were part of a global network, protecting Tatar resonance chambers like those found beneath Buffalo in 2025. These chambers, etched with petroglyphs mirroring Siberian designs, hum during geomagnetic storms, as if reactivating dormant grids. A fringe parapsychology report from 2025 describes psychic experiments at Scotland's vitrified forts, where participants experience visions of Tatar shamans chanting frequencies to fortify their defenses, their voices weaving energy fields that shielded nomadic camps. The conspiracy deepens with whispers of elite orchestration. Your comments on our channel point to the Illuminati, Jesuits, and Freemasons as architects of this erasure, a narrative echoed in Dean Henderson's royal bloodline, Wetiko, and the Great Remembering, still debated in 2025. Henderson claims an Anunnaki bloodline, tracing back to Sumeria 8,500 years ago, infiltrated Tatar societies during the Golden Horde's decline, co-opting their technologies for elite agendas. The Mudflood, in this lens, was a weaponized reset, using sonic oscillators akin to those Nikola Tesla later experimented with to liquefy soil and bury evidence. A 2025 X post from @ConspiracyWatch cites Ottoman chronicles describing earth-shaking hums preceding coastal deluges, suggesting Tatar enemies deployed such devices to drown their cities. The Freemasons, with their symbols mirroring Tatar runes, are accused of preserving these secrets in hidden vaults, their lodges guarding humming relics that activate during flares, as reported in 2025 scans of Oddfellows' basements. The global reach of this event is staggering. In Salt Lake City, pioneer accounts from the 1840s describe ruins half buried in sediment, their domed structures and precise masonry echoing Tatar aesthetics. Across Europe, Paris's catacombs hide levels flooded with clay, preserving artifacts with conduits suggesting advanced engineering. These sites share a common thread: uniform sediment layers, inconsistent with gradual erosion, pointing to a rapid burial. A 2025 geophysical survey, reported in Nature, detects anomalies beneath Eurasian steppes, hinting at buried infrastructures aligned with geomagnetic lines. Could these be remnants of Tatar energy grids, designed to harness atmospheric electricity, as speculated in a July 2025 podcast, Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire? The Mudflood's timing coinciding with the Napoleonic Wars, the War of 1812, and the Tambora eruption of 1815 raises suspicions. Was Tambora's Year Without a Summer a cover for artificial triggers, its ash mixing with engineered mud to obscure the truth? Cosmic influences add another layer of intrigue. The Great Comet of 1811, visible for months, is cited in 2025 X posts from Tartaria Truth as a harbinger, its tail depositing dust that altered atmospheric conditions, perhaps triggering hyperliquefaction. Alternatively, a pole shift, a sudden reorientation of Earth's magnetic field, could have destabilized continents, causing mud to flow like rivers. Sediment cores from 2025, analyzed in geophysical research letters, show unexplained anomalies from this period, supporting theories of a rapid event. Yet, the question persists: was this flood a natural catastrophe or a deliberate act to erase a civilization too advanced for its time? The Anunnaki, per Henderson, may have intervened, using ancient technologies to reset humanity's progress, ensuring dependency on finite resources. Your comments suggest a cycle of control, where elites stoke fears, wars, pandemics, economic crashes to maintain power, mirroring the Mudflood's erasure. The artifacts resurfacing in 2025, glowing forts, humming chambers, submerged portals, challenge us to reconsider history's narrative. If the Mudflood was engineered, what other cataclysms lie hidden in our past? Are the visions at Karadini's portals warnings from Tatar ancestors, encoded to awaken us? And as solar flares intensify, reactivating these grids, are we on the brink of rediscovering a lost science, or unleashing forces meant to stay buried? These questions linger, pulsing beneath the Earth's silent surface. If this mystery of the Mudflood sparks your curiosity, I'd love for you to join our journey on Mystery History for Sleep. Consider subscribing or dropping a comment with your thoughts, perhaps sharing where you're listening from and the hour lighting your night. In the heart of the 13th century, the sprawling markets of Sarai pulse with life, their stalls brimming with silk from Cathay, spices from India, and furs from the frozen north. Towering above the city, A network of Yam postal stations dispatches riders across thousands of miles, their messages carried with a speed that rivals modern couriers. This is no chaotic horde of barbarians, but the Golden Horde, a Tatar empire that wove together east and west with unmatched sophistication. Under the rule of Uzbek Khan, its streets hum with the chants of shamans whose music heals ailments, while artisans carve wooden panels that map the stars Pluto among them, hinting at knowledge centuries ahead of its time. Yet, this empire's brilliance has been relegated to the shadows, its achievements buried in the annals of history. Why did a civilization that mastered trade, communication, and celestial science vanish into obscurity? Could the Golden Horde's innovations, its resonance technologies, and cosmic maps threaten a world order that sought to erase its legacy? In 2025, as new discoveries unearth its secrets, the Horde's story demands we question what history hides. The Golden Horde, founded by Batu Khan in the 1240s, stretched from the Volga River to the Pacific, a vast dominion that bridged cultures and continents. Far from the savage raiders of Western chronicles, the Horde was a hub of commerce and innovation. Sarai, its capital, rivaled Constantinople in grandeur, with markets that traded goods from Venice to Beijing. The Yam system, a network of relay stations, enabled messages to travel up to 200 miles a day, predating modern postal services by centuries. A 2025 article from History Today describes this as a logistical marvel, with stations stocked with horses and provisions, ensuring the Horde's grip on its far-flung territories. This was no mere empire of conquest. It was a machine of connectivity, its roads bustling with merchants, diplomats, and scholars. Under Uzbek Khan's reign, beginning in 1313, the Horde embraced Islam, fostering a cultural renaissance that blended Turkic, Mongol, and Persian traditions. Mosques rose alongside shamanic shrines, their domes etched with patterns that echoed celestial alignments. The Horde's technological prowess lies at the heart of its enigma. Your comments on our channel highlight their shamanic music, described by medieval travelers like Ibn Battuta as a form of medicine. These melodies, tuned to specific frequencies, soothed ailments and restored balance, a practice echoed in 2025 biofeedback experiments. A July 2025 report from a Siberian lab notes that tones at 440 Hz matching modern musical scales reduce stress and inflammation in subjects, suggesting the Tatar harnessed resonance to heal. These frequencies, some theorists claim on X underhandles like at Ancient Tech, aligned with the Earth's geomagnetic fields, creating a science of vibration that could stabilize camps or communicate across distances. In the Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul, a wooden relic likely from the Horde's era bears a solar system map, including Pluto, carved without glue or nails. A March 2025 YouTube video links this to Sumerian tablets depicting 9 planets, proposing the Horde inherited knowledge from the lost continent of Mu, submerged 12,000 years ago during the Ice Age's end. This celestial mastery raises questions that ripple through time. How did a nomadic empire map the heavens with such precision? The Pluto carving, dismissed by mainstream historians as ornamental, suggests an astronomical science rivaling that of later Europeans. A 2025 X-post from @Tartaria Truth ties this to Polynesian navigational symbols, hinting at transoceanic migrations from Mu's survivors. The Horde's artisans, working in wood and stone, crafted devices that may have served dual purposes, art and technology. Their woodworking, as you've noted, used sonic vibrations to interlock panels, creating structures that hummed with latent energy. In 2025, fringe researchers replicating these techniques report wood aligning under specific frequencies, as if guided by an unseen force. Could these panels have been portable star maps, used to navigate the steppes or harness atmospheric energy? The Kazan Kremlin, a UNESCO site, preserves such designs, its walls blending Tatar motifs with Islamic geometry, suggesting a fusion of science and spirituality. The Horde's shamanic rituals deepen this mystery. In 2025, psychic experiments at Bosnia's Visoko pyramids, linked to Tatar migratory paths, yield visions of shamans chanting around bonfires, their voices lifting megaliths or compressing energy for communal resilience. A parapsychology report describes these as frequency weaving, where sound aligned with Earth's pulses to create protective fields. These rituals, preserved in oral traditions, may have encoded cosmic knowledge, passed down from Mu or Atlantean refugees. A January 2025 article in All That's Interesting notes similarities between Tatar petroglyphs and Polynesian carvings, suggesting a shared heritage. The Horde's ability to erect temporary fortresses overnight, as described in medieval chronicles, aligns with artificial intelligence decodings from Siberian vaults in 2025. These texts, blending Turkic runes with Slavic symbols, describe fold points quantum mechanisms to compress space or sustenance, enabling hordes to traverse vast distances without supply lines. Experiments in 2025 labs, inspired by these texts, levitate small objects using sound, but uncontrolled tests cause tremors, echoing the cataclysms that buried these technologies. The Horde's global influence adds another layer. Your comments highlight their diversity: white Kipchaks, red-haired giants of legend, yellow Mongols, and mythic black Tatars sold as slaves to North Africa. Their bloodlines seeding Caribbean lore of Karabi. Genetic studies in 2025, reported in Nature, uncover Middle Eastern markers in Tatar populations, suggesting ancient crossings via Beringia or maritime routes. This multiculturalism, unified under the Horde, challenged empires that sought to fragment it. The Horde's trade networks, linking China to Europe, facilitated cultural exchange, with Persian astronomers and Chinese engineers contributing to their science. A 2025 X-thread from At Tatar Legacy claims the Horde's YAM system inspired later European postal networks, yet credit was given to Western innovators. Why? To erase a legacy that could inspire nomadic independence, a threat to sedentary empires. The erasure of this empire is no accident. The Mudflood hypothesis, explored in our previous discussions, suggests a deliberate cataclysm in the early 19th century buried Tatar cities, their technologies repurposed by conquerors. A July 2025 podcast, Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire, posits that the Horde's resonance devices were targeted, their humming chambers sealed under sediment. In Kazan, excavations in 2025 uncover foundations buried in clay, their conduits hinting at energy systems. Across Ukraine, mounds yield artifacts with Tatar runes, per a 2025 archaeology report, suggesting a network spanning continents. The Freemasons, with symbols mirroring Tatar designs, are accused of co-opting these secrets, their lodges hiding relics that hum during solar flares, as reported in 2025 scans. Dean Henderson's royal bloodline Wetiko, debated in 2025, ties this to an Anunnaki bloodline, infiltrating the Horde during its decline to hoard its technologies for elite agendas. The Horde's decline, hastened by internal strife and external conquests, marks the beginning of its erasure. By the 1500s, Moscow's rise fragmented the Khanates, absorbing their innovations into Russian culture. Yet, traces remain. The Kazan Kremlin's domes, the YAM system's echoes in modern logistics, and oral traditions, preserving shamanic songs. In 2025, Tatar communities revive these rituals, their chants echoing ancient frequencies. Why was this empire forgotten? Your comments suggest a deliberate rewriting, with European chroniclers crediting Arab or Greek scholars for Tatar achievements. The Pluto carving, dismissed as myth, may encode warnings of cataclysms, mudfloods, or pole shifts that reset humanity. As 2025 discoveries unearth these truths, questions multiply. What other technologies did the Horde wield? Did their science threaten empires, prompting their burial? And as their descendants face modern oppression, are we ignoring a legacy that could reshape our future? These enigmas linger like echoes across the steppes. The Golden Horde, a beacon of innovation, challenges us to rethink history's narrative. Were their songs and carvings mere art, or keys to a science we're only now rediscovering? Does the Horde's forgotten brilliance captivate you, or do its buried secrets stir you more? Let these questions guide you into the night, seeking the truths that await. Across the boundless steppes of the 13th century, a kaleidoscope of faces gathers under the banner of the Golden Horde: white-skinned Kipchaks with piercing blue eyes, red-haired giants whose legends echo in campfire tales, yellow-hued Mongols wielding curved bows, and mythic black Tatars whose descendants would sail to distant shores. This is no monolithic horde, but a vibrant tapestry of peoples, their cultures interwoven in a civilization that spanned continents. From the Uyghurs of ancient Turkestan to the Caribbean's Karabi, born of enslaved Kipchaks, the Tatars' diversity defies the simplistic labels of history, hinting at a global legacy that stretches from the lost continent of Mu to the Americas. Yet, this rich mosaic has been fragmented, its threads unraveled by conquerors who sought to erase a unified heritage. In 2025, as genetic traces and buried artifacts resurface, the Tatars' story challenges us to ask, how did such a diverse people forge an empire of harmony, and why was their legacy scattered across oceans and time? Could their bloodlines, carrying secrets of ancient crossings, hold the key to a suppressed truth? The Tatars' multiculturalism, as you've highlighted in your comments, is a cornerstone of their enigma. Far from a singular ethnic group, they encompassed a spectrum of identities: white Kipchaks, red-haired giants of steppe lore, yellow Mongols, and black Tatars, whose tales persist in mythic whispers. The Kipchaks, known for their fair complexions and nomadic prowess, formed the backbone of the Golden Horde, their warriors dominating the Volga steppes. The Mongols, with their East Asian features, brought military discipline and trade networks from China. Red-haired giants, described in medieval chronicles like those of Marco Polo, loom in legends as towering leaders, their stature perhaps exaggerated to mask a genetic anomaly or extraterrestrial lineage. Black Tatars, sold as slaves to North Africa during the Byzantine era, carried their heritage to the Mediterranean, their descendants weaving into Caribbean narratives as Karabi, a term some link to the Arabic Karib for proximity, hinting at their forced migrations. A 2025 X post from @Tatar Legacy underscores this diversity, noting how these groups united under the Horde, their shared Turkic roots forging a cultural alloy that defied borders. This diversity finds echoes in genetic studies of 2025, published in Nature, which reveal Middle Eastern and Central Asian markers in Tatar populations, suggesting ancient crossings via Beringia or maritime routes. These findings resonate with your comments, which propose a connection to the lost tribes of Israel, particularly Judah, whose griffin heraldry mirrors symbols found in Tatar art. A July 2025 article in Archaeology explores artifacts from Ukraine's mounds, uncovering Tatar runes alongside motifs resembling biblical iconography, hinting at a spiritual lineage that blended Turkic shamanism with Semitic traditions. Could the Tatar have been heirs to a diaspora that sailed from the Levant, their ships guided by star maps carved in wood? The Süleymaniye Mosque's relic, depicting a solar system with Pluto, suggests such knowledge, inherited perhaps from Mu, the Pacific continent submerged 12,000 years ago. A 2025 X thread from @Ancient Tech ties this to Polynesian navigational symbols, proposing transoceanic migrations that linked Tatar ancestors to Pacific islanders. The Uyghurs, a key branch of this diverse family, embody the Tatars' enduring legacy. Sharing Scythian ancestry, their Turkic language and Islamic faith trace back to the Horde's cultural renaissance under Özbeg Khan. In 2025, their plight underscores the cost of this legacy's erasure. Amnesty International's August report details 1 to 3 million Uyghurs detained in Xinjiang camps, their language and religion suppressed through forced labor and assimilation. A September 2025 X post from @UyghurTruthProj highlights bans on hijabs and beards, with mosques shuttered to erase cultural identity. Yet, their resilience echoes the Tatars' nomadic spirit, their oral traditions preserving tales of star-guided journeys. Could these stories encode memories of Mu's survivors, who fled rising seas to Central Asia, their knowledge woven into the Horde's fabric? A January 2025 article in All That's Interesting notes similarities between Uyghur petroglyphs and Polynesian carvings, suggesting a shared heritage that spanned oceans. The Caribbean connection adds a haunting dimension. Your comments note that Kipchaks, sold as slaves by Byzantines, carried Tatar blood to North Africa, their descendants blending into the transatlantic slave trade. The term Caribbee, used in Caribbean folklore, may derive from these exiles, their stories of steppe warriors morphing into tales of resilience. In 2025, genetic studies of Caribbean populations, reported in American Journal of Human Genetics, uncover Turkic markers alongside African and Native American ones, hinting at a complex diaspora. These bloodlines, scattered by conquest, suggest the Tatars' reach extended beyond Eurasia, their navigators perhaps crossing oceans long before Columbus. A 2025 post from At Tartar Legacy speculates that Tatar sailors, guided by wooden star maps, reached the Americas, their technologies absorbed by indigenous builders of mounds like Cahokia, whose solstice-aligned pyramids echo the Horde's astronomical prowess. The conspiracy of erasure emerges as a central question. Why was this diverse heritage fragmented? Dean Henderson's royal bloodline Wetiko, debated in 2025, argues an Anunnaki bloodline tracing from Sumeria to modern elites orchestrated the Horde's dissolution, co-opting their technologies while rewriting history. The Freemasons, with symbols mirroring Tatar griffins, are accused of hiding relics in lodges, their humming stones activating during 2025 solar flares, per reports from Oddfellows' basements. European conquerors, from Moscow to Istanbul, credited Tatar achievements to Arabs or Greeks, as you've noted, to diminish a unified Turkic identity. A July 2025 podcast, Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire, suggests the Mudflood buried Tatar cities to prevent their resurgence, their resonance devices sealed under sediment. In Ukraine, 2025 excavations uncover mounds with artifacts bearing Tatar runes, hinting at a global network erased by design. This diversity, unified under the Horde, posed a threat to empires built on control. The Kipchaks' mobility, the Mongols' discipline, and the mythic giant's strength created a civilization that defied borders. Their shamanic rituals, blending Turkic and Israelite elements, encoded knowledge in song and stone, as seen in 2025 psychic experiments at Bosnia's Visoko pyramids. Participants report visions of Tatar councils chanting under starlit skies, their voices weaving energy fields to protect camps. These rituals, per a parapsychology report, used frequency weaving to compress sustenance, allowing hordes to survive long journeys. Artificial intelligence decodings from Siberian vaults in 2025 describe similar techniques, with fold points, enabling spatial compression. Were these technologies sound, navigation, astronomy too powerful for empires to tolerate? A 2025 post from At Conspiracy Watch claims Ottoman sultans, fearing Tatar portals in the Black Sea, engineered mudfloods to bury them, their plasma discharges inducing visions among sailors. The global diaspora of Tatar bloodlines raises unsettling questions. If their navigators reached the Caribbean, what other shores did they touch? Did their star maps, like the Suleymaniye relic, guide them across oceans, their resonance devices powering ships through storms? And why, in 2025, do their descendants, Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Crimean Tatars, face cultural erasure, their heritage overshadowed by Tartaria myths? The conspiracy, as you've suggested, uses nostalgia to distract from modern genocides, with elites perpetuating cycles of control. The genetic markers, the humming relics, the psychic visions, all point to a legacy that refuses to fade. As these truths resurface, what secrets might they unlock? Could the Tatars' diversity hold the key to a unified past, one that challenges the fragmented histories we're taught? In the stark dawn, a Uyghur woman in Xinjiang stands before a shuttered mosque, her hijab hidden beneath a plain scarf to evade prying eyes. Across the vast steppes of Kazakhstan, a Kazakh elder whispers folktales to his grandchildren, careful to avoid Russian words that have crept into their language, eroding their heritage. These are not isolated moments, but threads in a tapestry of systematic oppression, targeting the Turkic descendants of the Tatar peoples, whose vibrant legacy once spanned empires. The Uyghurs and Kazakhs, bound by shared Turkic roots to the Golden Horde, face cultural erasure in a world distracted by myths of a lost Tartaria. Why do these communities, heirs to a civilization that mastered trade and technology, endure such relentless suppression? Is the Tartaria narrative so alluring in 2025, a deliberate veil to obscure these modern genocides? and what secrets encoded in their enduring traditions might threaten the powers that seek to silence them. The Uyghurs, a Turkic people with linguistic and cultural ties to the Tatar, inhabit China's Xinjiang region, a land once crisscrossed by the Silk Road. Their heritage, steeped in the Golden Horde's blend of Islam and shamanism, pulses through oral traditions and intricate textiles. Yet, in 2025, this legacy faces annihilation. Amnesty International's August report details 1 to 3 million Uyghurs detained in camps since 2014, subjected to forced labor in cotton and solar panel production. The Center for Strategic and International Studies, in an August 2025 analysis, notes these industries underpin global supply chains. Yet the Uyghurs' plight remains unaddressed. Human Rights Watch's February 2025 report describes travel bans, mosque closures, and bans on hijabs and beards, stripping away cultural identity. A September 2025 ex-post from at Uyghur Truth Proj highlights the forced sterilization of Uyghur women, a chilling echo of genocide. These are not mere policies but a calculated effort to erase a people, their language replaced with Mandarin, their faith branded as extremism. Why such ferocity? Some theorists, echoing your comments, suggest the Uyghurs' Turkic heritage, linked to the Tatars' advanced technologies, poses a threat to elites who fear a resurgence of nomadic resilience. The Kazakhs, another Turkic kin, face a parallel struggle. Descended from the same Scythian roots as the Tatar, their nomadic traditions once dominated Central Asia's steppes. Yet, Soviet purges in the 1930s decimated a third of their population, as noted in a July 2025 ex-post from @GumiBears. In 2025, Russification continues to erode their identity. Schools enforce Russian curricula, sidelining the Kazakh language, while cultural festivals are monitored for separatism. A 2025 report from the Center for European Policy Analysis details how Russia's influence suppresses Kazakh heritage, replacing it with narratives glorifying Soviet unity. This mirrors the Tatars' historical erasure, where Golden Horde achievements were credited to others. Your comments argue that the Tartaria myth viral in 2025 through podcasts like Deep Research, Tartaria distracts from these real-time oppressions, weaponizing nostalgia to shift focus to a phantom empire while living cultures are crushed. This distraction is no accident, you've suggested, but part of a broader conspiracy. Dean Henderson's royal bloodline, Wetiko, and the Great Remembering, debated in 2025, claims an Anunnaki bloodline, stretching from Sumeria to modern elites, orchestrates cultural genocides to maintain control. The Tartaria narrative, per a July 2025 X-thread from @Conspiracy Watch, serves as a decoy, romanticizing a lost utopia while ignoring the Uyghurs and Kazakhs' struggles. This mirrors historical patterns. European conquerors fragmented the Golden Horde, crediting its innovations to Arabs or Greeks. In 2025, the same tactic persists, with global powers benefiting from Uyghur labor while dismissing their heritage as peripheral. A September 2025 ex-post from @Regine Olsine notes Uyghur women's resilience, weaving traditional patterns in secret, their stitches encoding stories of star-guided ancestors, perhaps echoes of the Tatars' celestial knowledge. The Uyghurs' traditions offer clues to this suppressed legacy. Their music, once used for healing, mirrors the Tatars' shamanic chants as described in medieval accounts. In 2025, clandestine recordings of Uyghur songs, shared on underground forums, resonate at frequencies that calm listeners, suggesting a remnant of resonance technology. A fringe experiment reported in August 2025 tests these tones, finding they reduce stress, much like the Tatars' ancient practices. Could these melodies, banned in Xinjiang, carry encoded knowledge from a Tartarian past? The Kazakhs, too, preserve oral tales of star-guided nomads, their dombra music echoing the Horde's rhythms. A 2025 ethnomusicology study notes similarities between Kazakh and Polynesian melodies, hinting at transoceanic migrations from Mu, the lost continent linked to Tatar origins. These traditions, under threat, may hold secrets elites seek to suppress knowledge of navigation or energy that defies modern constraints. The conspiracy deepens with historical parallels. The Tatars' diversity, as you've noted, included Kipchaks sold as slaves to North Africa, their bloodlines seeding Caribbean lore. This global reach threatened empires, prompting their erasure. In 2025, genetic studies in American Journal of Human Genetics uncover Turkic markers in Uyghur and Kazakh populations, alongside Middle Eastern and Polynesian traces, suggesting ancient crossings. These findings align with a January 2025 All That's Interesting article, proposing the Tatar sailed from Mu's sunken shores, their star maps guiding them across oceans. The Süleymaniye Mosque's wooden relic, depicting Pluto, may have been such a map, its vibrations aiding navigation. Yet, as the Uyghurs and Kazakhs face cultural obliteration, their ancestral knowledge is dismissed as folklore, much like the Tatars was centuries ago. A 2025 ex-post from @Tartar Legacy claims this erasure serves elites who fear a nomadic resurgence, unbound by borders or economies. The role of education in this conspiracy is chilling. Your comments highlight indoctrination from childhood, where curricula glorify Western progress while marginalizing Turkic contributions. In 2025, Xinjiang schools replace Uyghur with Mandarin, erasing history, while Kazakh schools adopt Russian texts, sidelining their nomadic heritage. This mirrors the 19th century rewriting of Tatar history, where Golden Horde innovations were credited to others. The Freemasons, with symbols echoing Tatar runes, are accused of guarding these secrets in lodges, their humming relics activating during 2025 solar flares. PER reports from Oddfellows' basements. Henderson's Wetico ties this to an Anunnaki agenda, where elites suppress cultures to hoard their technologies. A July 2025 podcast, Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire, suggests the Mudflood buried Tatar cities to prevent such a resurgence, its echoes felt in modern oppressions. The Tartaria myth, while captivating, obscures these realities. A 2025 book, Mudflood Hypothesis, available in audio, claims buried cities with free energy grids, yet fails to address the Uyghurs and Kazakhs' plight. This distraction, you've argued, is deliberate, keeping us chasing phantoms while living cultures fade. In 2025, Uyghur activists, like those in an August ex-post from @Uyghur, American, protest at China's Washington embassy, yet global inaction persists. Kazakhs, per a July 2025 ex-post from @GumiBears, revive traditional music in secret, their songs encoding resistance. These acts of defiance mirror the Tatars' resilience, their ancestors' chants surviving centuries of conquest. But why does the world ignore them? Could their traditions, music, stories, textiles carry remnants of a Tartarian science too potent for elites to allow? As we ponder these injustices, questions multiply. If the Uyghurs and Kazakhs inherit the Tatars' legacy, what knowledge do they preserve? Are their suppressed songs and tales keys to a lost technology, buried to prevent a nomadic revival? And as Tartaria captivates 2025, why do we chase myths while real genocides unfold? The answers, hidden in the stitches of a Uyghur textile or the notes of a Kazakh dombra, await those who dare to listen. In the dim light of a Crimean dawn in 1944, families are torn from their homes, herded onto trains bound for distant wastelands. The air is thick with fear, as 46% of the Crimean Tatar population perishes in exile, their culture branded a threat by Soviet decrees. Fast forward to 2025, and the echoes of this tragedy persist. A Crimean Tatar activist, Nariman Zelial, marks 4 years in detention, his voice silenced for resisting Russian occupation. Across Crimea, mosques stand empty, their minarets shadowed by surveillance, while the Tatar language is pushed to the margins of school curricula. This is not merely a continuation of historical injustice, but a deliberate campaign of Russification, stripping a people of their identity while the world, distracted by myths of a lost Tartaria, looks away. Why do the Crimean Tatars, heirs to the Golden Horde's legacy, face such relentless erasure? Could their enduring traditions, songs, symbols, and stories hold secrets that threaten modern powers? Their struggle intensifies. What truths might their resilience unearth? The Crimean Tatars, a Turkic people with roots in the Golden Horde, have long been a cultural bridge between East and West. their heritage blending Islamic faith with nomadic traditions. In 1944, Stalin's regime accused them of collaborating with Nazi Germany, deporting over 190,000 to Central Asia, where nearly half died from starvation, disease, or exposure. A July 2025 report from the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization notes the Netherlands' recognition of this as genocide, a belated acknowledgement of a wound still unhealed. After returning to Crimea in the 1990s, following Ukraine's independence, the Tatars faced renewed persecution, with Russia's annexation in 2014. A June 2025 article from the Atlantic Council details ongoing arrests, house searches, and bans on cultural gatherings, with 23 such incidents reported by Mezya in early 2025. The detention of Nariman Jelial, a prominent Mejlis leader, marked its 4th anniversary in September 2025, per a Facebook post, symbolizing the suppression of Tatar activism. Russification in 2025 is a calculated assault on identity. The Center for European Policy Analysis, in a July report, describes how Russian authorities enforce curricula that prioritize Russian language and history, sidelining Tatar lessons to a few hours weekly. Mosques, once centers of community, are monitored or closed, with religious leaders labeled extremists. A May 2025 Reuters piece highlights fears that Crimea may be fully ceded to Russia, erasing Tatar claims to their ancestral land. Your comments on our channel suggest a deeper agenda. The Crimean Tatars, like their Uyghur and Kazakh kin, are targeted to suppress a Turkic legacy tied to the Tatars' advanced technologies. The Tartaria myth, viral in 2025 through podcasts like Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire, distracts from this reality, painting a lost utopia while living cultures are erased. Why focus on a phantom empire when real descendants fight for survival? The Crimean Tatars' traditions offer clues to this suppressed heritage. Their music, rooted in the Golden Horde's shamanic chants, carries frequencies that resonate with the Earth's rhythms. In 2025, clandestine recordings shared on underground forums capture Tatar songs that calm listeners, echoing the healing melodies described by medieval travelers. A fringe experiment reported in August 2025 tests these tones, finding they reduce stress, suggesting a remnant of resonance technology. Their textiles, woven with geometric patterns akin to those in the Kazan Kremlin, encode stories of star-guided ancestors. A 2025 archaeology article notes artifacts from Crimean digs, amulets with runes resembling Tatar symbols, hinting at a spiritual lineage tied to the Horde's celestial knowledge. Could these traditions, preserved despite persecution, hold keys to technologies buried by the Mudflood? The conspiracy of erasure ties to a broader narrative, as you've noted. Dean Henderson's royal bloodline, Wetiko, debated in 2025, argues an Anunnaki bloodline, from Sumeria to modern elites, orchestrates cultural genocides to hoard ancient knowledge. The Freemasons, with symbols mirroring Tatar griffins, are accused of hiding relics in lodges, their humming stones activating during 2025 solar flares, per reports from Oddfellows' basements. The Mudflood, per a July 2025 post from at Tartaria Truth, buried Tatar cities to prevent a nomadic resurgence, its echoes felt in Crimea's oppression. Russian authorities, using Tatars as frontline pawns in Ukraine's conflict, per your comments, mirror historical tactics, fragmenting a people to erase their power. A May 2025 DW report traces this to Tsarist policies, where Tatar contributions to trade and astronomy were credited to Russians or Arabs. The global context amplifies this mystery. The Crimean Tatars' plight parallels the Uyghurs and Kazakhs, suggesting a pattern of Turkic suppression. A 2025 post from at Tatar Legacy claims their shared heritage linked to the Horde's navigational star maps threatens elites who fear a unified Turkic identity. Genetic studies in 2025, reported in Nature, uncover Middle Eastern markers in Crimean Tatar populations, hinting at ancient crossings from the Levant or Mu. These bloodlines, carrying resilience honed by centuries of survival, may encode knowledge of resonance or navigation, as seen in the Süleymaniye Mosque's Pluto-carved relic. A January 2025 All That's Interesting article suggests Tatar sailors reached distant shores, their technologies absorbed by indigenous builders. Could Crimea's oppression aim to silence this legacy, preventing its rediscovery? The Tartaria myth, while captivating, obscures these truths. Mudflood hypothesis claims buried cities with free energy grids, yet ignores the Crimean Tatars' struggle. This distraction, you've argued, is deliberate, keeping us chasing phantoms while real genocides unfold. In 2025, Tatar activists revive traditional dances in secret, their movements encoding resistance, per a September X post from at Crimea Voice. These acts mirror the Horde's resilience, their shamans weaving energy fields to protect camps. Psychic experiments at Bosnia's Visoko pyramids in 2025 yield visions of Tatar councils chanting under stars, their voices compressing sustenance for long journeys. Artificial intelligence decodings from Crimean digs, reported in 2025, describe fold points quantum mechanisms to traverse distances, suggesting technology's elites fear. The questions multiply as Crimea's struggle continues. Why target a people whose music and symbols echo a lost science? Are their traditions, songs, textiles, runes, remnants of a Tartarian legacy buried to prevent a nomadic revival? And as Russia tightens its grip, what secrets might the Tatars' resilience unearth? The answers, hidden in their enduring chants, await those who dare to listen. If the Crimean Tatars' story moves you, or if their hidden heritage stirs your imagination, I invite you to stay with us on Mystery History for Sleep. A quick subscribe or a comment sharing your location and time or your thoughts on this unfolding tragedy would mean the world to our community of seekers. Let's keep exploring these mysteries together, one whisper at a time. In the flickering glow of a 21st century screen, news cycles churn with tales of pandemics, economic turmoil, and looming conflicts, each crisis stoking fear in a world that feels perpetually on edge. Beneath this surface chaos lies a pattern, not of random events but of deliberate orchestration, a spiral of history where wars are sparked not by chance but by calculated design. Your comments on our channel pierce this veil, suggesting that elites, wielding propaganda like a weapon, have long manipulated humanity into cycles of strife, from ancient sieges to modern battlefields. The Tatar, whose golden horde once bridged continents, were ensnared in such spirals, their advanced technologies buried to prevent a nomadic resurgence. In 2025, as glowing ruins and psychic visions resurface, these cycles raise haunting questions. Are wars engineered to reset civilizations, much like the Mudflood that erased Tartaria? Who pulls the strings behind these spirals, and what secrets do they guard in the Tatars' suppressed legacy? The notion of history as a spiral, rather than a linear progression, reframes our understanding of conflict. Your insights argue that wars are not organic but manufactured, requiring propaganda to ignite hatred and sacrifice. From the Mongol invasions to the Napoleonic Wars, from the Cold War to 2025's geopolitical tensions, each conflict follows a script. Fear is sown through plagues, economic crashes, or ideological divides, culminating in bloodshed that benefits elites. A July 2025 X post from at Conspiracy Watch draws parallels to ancient sieges, where cities were starved for years to break their spirit. Today, media amplifies viruses or recessions to destabilize societies, paving the way for wars that ordinary people, yearning only for family and stability, would never choose. The Tatar, whose empire thrived on trade and mobility, were caught in such spirals, their cities buried by mudfloods, per a 2025 podcast, Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire, to halt their independence. Dean Henderson's royal bloodline Wetiko, debated in 2025, ties these spirals to an Anunnaki bloodline, stretching from Sumeria 8,500 years ago to modern power centers. This lineage, infected by Wetiko, a Native American spirit of greed, orchestrates resets to maintain control. The Mudflood, a weaponized deluge of liquefied earth, is one such reset, burying Tatar technologies like resonance chambers and star maps. A 2025 X thread from at Tartaria Truth suggests electromagnetic devices, perhaps Anunnaki-derived, triggered these floods. Their echoes felt in 2025's glowing forts. In Scotland and India, vitrified forts' walls fused into glass by intense heat emit hums during solar flares, per September 2025 reports, disrupting electronics. These structures, dismissed as lightning strikes, may be Tatar defenses, their plasma technologies targeted to prevent a nomadic revival. Could modern crises, pandemics, economic turmoil be engineered resets, mirroring these ancient cataclysms? Propaganda is the spark that ignites these spirals. Your comments note that no ordinary person seeks war. It requires narratives of enmity to drive sacrifice. In the 13th century, European chroniclers painted the Tatar as barbaric raiders, erasing their contributions to trade and astronomy. In 2025, media fuels division East versus West, ideology versus ideology, priming populations for conflict. A June 2025 Atlantic Council article describes how Russia's propaganda in Crimea vilifies Tatar activists, labeling them extremists to justify oppression. This mirrors global tactics. Fear of viruses, economic collapse, or others prepares societies for wars that enrich elites. Henderson's Whitaker argues these narratives are deliberate, with elites using media to compress dissent, much like the Tatars' legacy was compressed into myths. A 2025 ex-post from At Ancient Tech claims suppressed patents from the 1900s mirror Tatar resonance devices, suggesting elites hoard these technologies while stoking crises to maintain dependency. The Tatars' fate illustrates this spiral's cruelty. Their golden horde, a beacon of multiculturalism, was fragmented by Moscow's rise in the 1500s, its innovations credited to Arabs or Greeks. The Mudflood, per a 2025 book, Mudflood Hypothesis, buried their cities, sealing resonance chambers, like those found beneath Buffalo in 2025, humming during geomagnetic storms. These chambers, etched with Tatar runes, suggest a science of vibration used to heal or fortify camps. Psychic experiments at Bosnia's Visoko pyramids in 2025 yield visions of Tatar shamans weaving frequencies to compress sustenance, enabling long journeys. Artificial intelligence decodings from Siberian vaults, reported in 2025, describe fold points quantum mechanisms to manipulate space targeted by enemies to prevent nomadic dominance. Were these spirals conquest, erasure, propaganda designed to crush a people whose technologies threatened control? The global scope of these cycles is staggering. Your comments highlight anomalies. Vitrified glass in deserts, suggesting ancient nuclear events, and sulfur deposits unexplained by nature, hinting at Tatar plasma weapons. Old maps, showing a green Greenland and a forested Sahara, imply pole shifts or engineered cataclysms, per a March 2025 YouTube video. These align with the Mudflood's timeline, suggesting a reset to bury Tatar knowledge. In 2025, excavations in Ukraine uncover mounds with Tatar artifacts, runes, and conduits, hinting at a network spanning continents. The Freemasons, with symbols echoing Tatar griffins, are accused of guarding these secrets in lodges, their relics humming during solar flares, per 2025 reports. Henderson's Anunnaki narrative posits extraterrestrial intervention, seeding elites who orchestrate wars to suppress such knowledge. A 2025 ex-post from @Tartaria Legacy claims modern conflicts, like those in Ukraine, use Tatar descendants as pawns, their heritage erased to prevent a unified Turkic resurgence. The questions spiral outward, defying resolution. If wars are engineered, what end do they serve? Henderson suggests control, keeping humanity dependent on finite resources while elites hoard ancient technologies. The Tatars' resonance devices, star maps, and navigational prowess, preserved in Uyghur songs and Kazakh tales, may hold keys to freedom. Clandestine recordings of Turkic music, shared on underground forums, resonate at frequencies that calm listeners, echoing ancient healing practices. Could these traditions, suppressed by propaganda, unlock a Tartarian science? And as solar flares intensify, reactivating glowing ruins, are we witnessing a reawakening or a warning of another reset? The cycles of history, fear, war, erasure persist, but the Tatars' resilience offers hope. In the digital hum of 2025, A quiet revolution brews in online forums, where amateur sleuths pore over grainy photographs of half-buried windows in Chicago and glowing forts in Siberia, piecing together a puzzle labeled Tartaria. This is no mere internet fad. It's a global awakening, fueled by podcasts, X-threads, and underground collectives that breathe life into a suppressed Tatar legacy. From resonance devices humming beneath city streets to genetic markers whispering of ancient crossings, the Tartaria narrative has exploded, captivating millions with tales of a lost empire. Yet, beneath this viral surge lies a deeper hope, a revival of the Tatars' harmonious technologies, from healing music to star-guided navigation, that could break the chains of modern control. As these ideas inspire grassroots experiments and spiritual quests, one question looms: is this resurgence a rediscovery of lost wisdom, or a dangerous dance with myths that obscure the real struggles of Turkic peoples? What secrets, pulsing in the ruins, might herald a new era? The Tartaria phenomenon, once a niche conspiracy, dominates 2025's digital landscape. The podcast Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire, aired in February, explores a civilization of free energy spires and resonance chambers, buried by mudfloods to prevent nomadic independence. A 2025 book, Mudflood Hypothesis, available in audio, details buried cities with glowing grids, its ideas amplified on X by handles like @Tartaria Truth. These platforms buzz with posts. August threads dissect submerged Black Sea portals, their runes inducing visions of Tatar warriors among divers. This viral spread, fueled by Reddit's Tartaria and YouTube analyses, empowers ordinary people to question official narratives. A July 2025 X post from @AncientTech highlights radar scans beneath the Giza pyramids, revealing chambers some link to Tatar energy-focusing technologies. These discoveries blur the line between pseudo-history and archaeology, sparking curiosity. Are we uncovering a Tartarian truth, or chasing a distraction from modern oppressions? Grassroots experiments in 2025 breathe life into this legacy. Underground collectives, inspired by artificial intelligence decodings of Siberian vault texts, test resonance devices modeled on Tatar shamanic practices. A September 2025 report from a fringe lab describes portable tools that harness solar inputs at low frequencies, powering off-grid communities. These echo the Horde's fold points, quantum mechanisms to compress energy, detailed in 2025 vault texts. Communities in Central Asia, per an August X post from @Tatar Legacy, revive harmonic gardens, where plants are arranged to resonate with Earth's frequencies, boosting growth and well-being. These experiments, blending ancient wisdom with modern tech, suggest a revival of Tatar principles: sustainability, mobility, harmony. Could these efforts, small but growing, challenge the fossil fuel dependency that elites enforce? Genetic studies in 2025 add a profound layer. Published in Nature, analyses of Uyghur, Kazakh, and Crimean Tatar populations uncover Middle Eastern and Polynesian markers, hinting at ancient crossings from Mu or the Levant. These bloodlines, per a January All That's interesting article, may carry resilience honed by centuries of survival, echoing the Tatars' nomadic endurance. Fringe researchers, inspired by Dean Henderson's royal bloodline Wetiko, debated in 2025, propose these markers encode latent abilities, intuition, adaptability, linked to Tatar technologies. A July 2025 X post from @Conspiracy Watch claims elites suppress these traits, fearing a nomadic revival. Therapies in 2025, reported in Scientific American, amplify such markers, enhancing stress resistance in test subjects. Are these genes a Tartarian birthright, waiting to awaken in a world craving freedom? Spiritual quests amplify this resurgence. Psychic experiments at vitrified forts in 2025, reported in parapsychology journals, yield visions of Tatar shamans chanting under starlit skies, their frequencies weaving protective fields. These forts, glowing during solar flares in Scotland and Siberia, emit hums that induce calm, per a September 2025 X post from @Mystic Echoes. Participants in energy circles at these sites report synchronized heart rhythms, mirroring the Horde's communal rituals. A 2025 ethnomusicology study notes Tatar music, preserved in Uyghur and Kazakh songs, resonates at healing frequencies, calming listeners despite bans. These practices, blending ancient chants with biofeedback, suggest a revival of Tatar harmonics, defying elite suppression. Could these spiritual echoes, pulsing in 2025, herald a return to harmony? The conspiracy, however, casts a shadow. Henderson's Wetiko argues an Anunnaki bloodline, from Sumeria to modern elites, Horde's Tatar technologies, resonance devices, star maps while erasing their origins. The Freemasons, with symbols mirroring Tatar runes, guard humming relics in lodges, per 2025 reports from Oddfellows' basements. The Tartaria myth, while inspiring, risks distracting from real oppressions. Uyghurs in camps, Kazakhs facing Russification, Crimean Tatars silenced. A 2025 ex-post from @Uyghur Truth Proj notes 1 to 3 million detained, their culture erased, yet global inaction persists. The Mudflood hypothesis book, while viral, ignores these struggles, per your comments, fueling nostalgia over justice. Is this resurgence a trap, engineered to keep us chasing phantoms while Turkic peoples suffer? The dangers of this narrative are real. A 2025 Global Network on Extremism and Technology report warns that Tartaria theories, like Fomenko's new chronology, fuel nationalism, painting Tatars as victims of globalist erasure. This risks extremism, echoing Ukraine's conflicts where Tatars are pawns. Yet, the anomalies' glowing forts, psychic visions, genetic markers defy dismissal. A 2025 geophysical survey in Nature detects subterranean anomalies beneath Crimean mounds, hinting at Tatar infrastructures. Are these signs of a reawakening, or echoes of a past meant to stay buried? The hope lies in resistance. Tatar communities, per an August X post from @Crimea Voice, revive dances and songs, encoding defiance. These acts, small but potent, challenge the spirals of control wars, pandemics, economic crashes that elites orchestrate, per your insights. As Tartaria goes viral, questions cascade. If Tatar technologies' resonance, navigation, harmony are rediscovered, could they forge a nomadic utopia, or do they risk fueling division, as myths overshadow real struggles? The glowing ruins, psychic chants, and genetic revivals of 2025 suggest a legacy stirring, defying elite suppression. What new world might emerge if we embrace this hope? Where are you listening from tonight? And what hour marks your time? Share your thoughts in the comments. Does Tartaria's viral surge inspire you? Or do the real oppressions it veils stir you more? Let these mysteries linger as you drift into the night. As twilight settles over the vast steppes of Central Asia in 2025, a circle of modern nomads gathers around a crackling fire, their voices rising in a chant that echoes the ancient songs of Tatar shamans. Beneath their feet, the earth hums faintly, as if awakened by their melody, its vibrations stirring memories of a lost empire. This is no mere gathering. It is a quiet act of defiance, a reclamation of a heritage buried by mudfloods and rewritten histories. The Tatar, whose golden horde once wove cultures across continents, stand at the heart of a resurgence, their technologies of resonance and star-guided wisdom pulsing through 2025's discoveries. From glowing forts to genetic markers, from psychic visions to underground networks, the Tartaria narrative, viral and contentious, sparks a hope that transcends myth. Yet, as Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and Crimean Tatars face relentless oppression, a shadow looms. Is this revival a path to liberation, or a distraction from their struggles? What truths hidden in the Tatars' enduring legacy might reshape our world if we dare to embrace them? This journey through the Tatar enigma has peeled back layers of deception, revealing a civilization far grander than the barbarian hordes of textbooks. We began with a wooden relic, its solar system carving Pluto included, hinting at astronomical knowledge centuries ahead of its time. We explored the Golden Horde's trade networks and shamanic chants, their resonance technologies healing bodies and bending matter. The Mudflood, a cataclysmic deluge of Earth, buried these marvels, perhaps by design, as shadowy elites, Freemasons, Jesuits, an Anunnaki bloodline, sought to erase a nomadic legacy that threatened control. Dean Henderson's royal bloodline Wetiko, debated in 2025, frames this as a battle against Wetiko, a greed-driven spirit that suppresses truth. The Tatars' diversity: white Kipchaks, red-haired giants, yellow Mongols, black Tatars seeding Caribbean lore wove a global tapestry, their bloodlines carrying echoes of Mu's sunken shores. Yet, their descendants endure cultural erasure, with Uyghurs detained in camps, Kazakhs Russified, and Crimean Tatars silenced, their plight obscured by Tartaria's allure. In 2025, this legacy pulses anew. The podcast Colossal Reach of Tartarian Empire explores buried cities with free energy grids, while ex-posts from @Tartaria Truth cite glowing forts in Siberia and Scotland, humming during solar flares. Artificial intelligence decodings from Siberian vaults reveal fold points, quantum mechanisms for spatial compression, suggesting the Tatar mastered technologies we're only now rediscovering. Genetic studies, published in Nature, uncover resilience markers in Uyghur, Kazakh, and Crimean Tatar populations, hinting at a nomadic birthright. Psychic experiments at Bosnia's Visoko pyramids yield visions of shamans weaving frequencies, their chants preserving knowledge through centuries of conquest. These discoveries, from humming relics to harmonic gardens, fuel a revival: grassroots collectives testing resonance devices, communities reviving Tatar songs, and activists encoding resistance in secret dances. But the Tartaria narrative, per your comments, risks distracting from real oppressions, a weaponized nostalgia that veils genocide while chasing phantoms. Let us pause to envision a future where this revival takes root. Picture a 2030 community in the Kazakh steppes, their homes powered by resonance devices modeled on Tatar relics, their gardens thriving under harmonic frequencies. Children learn the Dombra's melodies, each note a thread to ancestors who navigated by stars. In Crimea, a Tatar poet recites verses in a reclaimed mosque, her words echoing shamanic chants that once lifted stones. This is not fantasy but a possibility, born from 2025's experiments. A September report from a fringe lab describes portable solar collectors inspired by vault texts, powering off-grid villages. An August X post from @Crimea Voice notes, Tatar dances revived in secret, their movements encoding defiance. These acts, small but potent, challenge the Wetiko-driven elites who hoard ancient knowledge, per Henderson's narrative. Could this resurgence break their grip, forging a world unbound by borders or scarcity? Yet, the shadow of conspiracy persists. The Freemasons, with symbols mirroring Tatar runes, guard humming relics in lodges, per 2025 reports from Oddfellows' basements. The Mudflood, a deliberate reset, buried these technologies to prevent nomadic freedom, as argued in a 2025 book, Mudflood Hypothesis. The Tartaria myth, while inspiring, fuels extremism, per a Global Network on Extremism and Technology report, painting Tatars as victims of globalist erasure. This risks division, as seen in Ukraine's conflicts, where Tatars are pawns, per a June Atlantic Council article. The real tragedy lies in the silence. 1 to 3 million Uyghurs detained, per Amnesty International's August 2025 report. Kazakhs losing their language to Russification, per a July X post from @Gummy Bears. Crimean Tatars facing arrests, per Mesa's 2025 data. Why chase a lost empire when living descendants fight for survival? The answers, hidden in their songs and genes, await our attention. The questions spiral outward, defying closure. If Tatar technologies' resonance, navigation, harmony resurface, could they forge a nomadic utopia, free from elite control? Or does Tartaria's allure, as you've warned, distract from justice, perpetuating cycles of erasure? The glowing forts, psychic visions, and genetic markers of 2025 suggest a legacy stirring, its secrets encoded in the Earth's hum. What if the Tatars' bloodlines, carrying Mu's wisdom, awaken a collective resilience? Henderson's great remembering calls for this awakening, urging us to reclaim truths buried by Wetiko. As solar flares intensify, reactivating ancient grids, are we on the cusp of rediscovery or another reset? The revival, pulsing in 2025's grassroots efforts, offers hope, but only if we see beyond the myth to the real struggles of Turkic peoples. If these tales of revival and resistance resonate, I'd love for you to join our community on Mystery History for Sleep. Consider subscribing, enabling notifications, or sharing your thoughts below, perhaps noting your corner of the world and the hour that frames your night. As you ponder these mysteries, dear listeners, may your dreams be woven with the echoes of forgotten worlds, carrying you gently into slumber. Good night.